Right. Hello, everyone. I'll be speaking in English. I hope you don't mind. My Greek is not very good. And I'll be talking about digital signatures and the importance of remote signatures and how they comply with the new regulation in Europe, e-IDAS. So why e-signing is inevitable, why we'll all be using digital signatures in the future. What are the traditional ways of signing up to now, and what are the problems with those? What are the benefits of remote signing, the legal position, and the architectures for remote signing? Technology is moving at an extremely fast pace. It wasn't long ago that we were all using products like these. And at the time, these products were extremely good at what they were doing in terms of sharing information and communicating. But if you were going to use these products today, you will really not succeed. People today need to communicate immediately and expect information to be always available. So what you need is basically solutions which allow you to deliver information anywhere at any time and be able to capture consent from users. So if you want to do business online, you need to be able to have the equivalent of ink signatures on contracts, but done electronically and online. So what is the problems with paper signing? There's all kinds of problems. Most of them stem from the fact that you need to spend quite a lot of time distributing paper and gathering it, scanning it, putting it into your document management systems. All of this creates extra cost, and it's also subject to errors. People can sign in the wrong places, they can not fill in everything and submit these documents. Also, as a sender of such documents, you don't know where they are, who's currently sitting on these documents and not signing them. So if you are conducting your business in this way, you'll find that it's not going as fast as it could be. Also, at the end of the day, customers are not happy having to wait for paper and then to sign instead of just getting on with business. So what are digital signatures, and what security properties do they bring? There's a number of critical attributes of digital signatures. The first thing is they provide signer authentication. What does this mean? It basically means that the person's identity is bound with the electronic document, so you know exactly who sent it. The second thing is data integrity. What this means is that any changes to the document are automatically identified after the signature has been placed. So whether these changes were accidental or on purpose, even a single bit change to the document will be noticeable. And the last thing that digital signatures provide is non-repudiation. This is a key element of digital signatures, a very important business requirement, where a person who has signed the document cannot later claim that they didn't sign it. Example use cases are all kinds of documents which require signatures, contracts, NDAs, MOUs, etc., that you sign with your partners, suppliers, customers. Any documentation that you send out, for example, banks, when they send out e-statements, they can digitally sign them to prove that they're from the bank and not some kind of phishing attack. Similarly, e-bills and other types of documentation which you're sending out. Another use case is internal within an organization. So signing of HR documents, company policies, expense sheets, and so on. At the government level, it's legalization of documents, making them authentic, provable in foreign countries. E-notarization of documents, e-visas, anything which is currently paper-based and you want to move it to the electronic world, you can digitally sign. This is just another slide which showing all the different types of documents within an organization. Depending on which function you're looking at, there's a whole host of documents which you can digitally sign. If you look at the benefits of digital signatures, they're different depending on whether you're a sender of a document, in which case you're really interested in quickly getting the document signed. You want to know exactly where the document is, so tracking of documents. And you want to make sure that your signers are avoiding mistakes. So controlling what the user can do on that document, where they need to sign, all of this is what's important to you as a sender of a document. As a signer, what you're concerned about is being able to sign quickly, easily, and from anywhere. And as an organization, you are more interested in making sure your customers are happy, you're meeting legislation, you have high security, and you're reducing costs. That's the key things. So there's two ways, essentially, to electronically sign documents. And one is local signing, and the other one is remote signing. Local signing is something that's been around for 10 years, 20 years almost, and it relies on the signing key that a user owns being held locally by the user, for example, on a smart card or an electronic ID card. And this has been around, as I said, for a while, but it has some limitations, which I'll explain in the next few slides. Remote signing is quite a new concept, only a few years old, and this is about signing in the cloud. Okay? Your signing key, your unique key, which identifies you, is not held by you locally, but it's held by a trust service provider in the cloud. When you're evaluating a digital signature scheme, you need to look at three key factors to determine if it will be successful. The first thing is trust. Is the scheme trustworthy? What that means is, do you have adequate proof of who signed it and the fact that the data hasn't changed and they can't deny having signed it? So that's the trust element. Cost is obviously very important in terms of the capital expenditure and the operational expenditure. How much does it cost you in terms of hardware, software, and licenses? And the key point is the user experience. If you do not have a good, easy user experience, people will never replace ink signatures on paper with electronic. So you need to make it as easy as that. So the traditional way was with local signing, and what this was is basically the signing key is held on you, the owner of that key, within, for example, a smart card. The smart card is a tamper-resistant device, and the key inside of that cannot be exported out. But the problem with these type of solutions is that you need, first of all, to deploy these hardware tokens to every single user. Okay? You also need a smart card reader, another piece of hardware you need to deliver. You need to install specialist drivers on people's machines, which is an extra hassle for users. The other major problem is today users want to use their mobile phones and tablets, and you cannot use these smart cards easily on such devices. So they don't have a good user experience, plus they're expensive because of the need to deploy tokens. The other problem is these tokens can be easily lost, and when you lose these, you actually lose your digital identity, which was embedded in that chip. Instead, what we are seeing now, there's a huge move towards remote signing. And what is remote signing? It's basically where your signing keys are held in the cloud inside a hardware security module, HSM. What this is basically a giant smart card. It stores everyone's keys inside in a tamper-resistant way. So they can, again, not be exported out of this device. Now, when you want to sign a document using a remote signing solution, you will basically connect with this signing service, and you will ask for the document to be signed with your key. Now, the whole point of the system has to be that that key is only available to you. So it has to be under your sole control. And the way to achieve that is through a separate authorization check. Okay? So the way we have implemented it in Ascertia is to use your mobile phone as a means of authorization. The mobile phone has itself a secure element which can store an authorization key which will unlock your centrally held digital signature key. So with this, what you have actually met all of those three factors of high security and trust, low cost, and a great user experience. And the way you've done it is you've had unique keys of every single user held in the cloud. You've got two-factor authorization before the use of that key. You've got ease of use. You can sign from anywhere, from any type of mobile device. And you do not need to deploy any hardware to the user. So this is another slide just saying the same thing. I will skip over this. This is, I think the battery's gone. Okay. So within Europe, there's a new regulation called eIDAS. It replaces the old EU directive on electronic signatures, which did not recognize remote signing. The new regulation, eIDAS, was introduced primarily for this purpose, to allow the recognition, formal recognition of remote signing and being able to create qualified signatures. This is a special level of signature which gives you automatic recognition in a court of law. And this regulation basically allows you to create a qualified signature with your keys held in the cloud, as long as it's done in a proper, secure way. And the next slide. Well, this slide basically describes the architecture that you need to deploy a remote signing solution which meets the eIDAS requirements for qualified remote signatures. Basically, the way this diagram describes it is the user interacts with a business application. It could be any kind of government type application or private. And at some stage, the user initiates a signing request through this business application. The business application will then make a signing request to the trust service provider, which is hosting the signing solution. And the signing server basically will interface with a module called a signature activation module, which will seek authorization from the user via their mobile device. And there's a secure protocol between the user's mobile device and the signature activation module for authorizing the use of your central key. The signature activation module must be certified under common criteria, as should the HSM, the hardware security module, which is hosting the user's keys. So together, these certifications plus the certification of the trust service provider help to ensure that only the owner of that key has access to their signing keys, so proving sole control. The next couple of slides just talk about our signing solution. It's called Signing Hub. We have actually partnered with CL8, and we can demo this solution to you outside. So I will skip over this, but basically it's a workflow solution. It allows you to share documents with multiple parties and to control the reviewing and signing of those documents. This is just an interface that we have for the dashboard within Signing Hub and for a view of looking at your documents and getting them signed. And that is the end. Thank you.